And we say good morning to one Sal Licata. Sal, what's up, man?
The Mets are back, Jerry. Yes. Are you kidding me? Unfortunately, I couldn't watch it live because we had a 4 a.m. wake up, but I was fast asleep. I wake up and I go back and check out what happened and then watch the highlights. Francisco Alvarez. They are back, Jerry. That is the type of win that shows you they are going on a little bit of a road here. I told you that 3 and 2, 5. Get out of here. No way. Sweep the Diamondbacks. Senga was great, but Jared, down to their final strike and at bat that he's battling, gives me goosebumps thinking about it. I watched the highlight 5 times where that was a Piazza-like moment. Dramatics. Alvarez has had a flair for that since he's been up here this year. You knew he was trying to hit a home run to tie the game. He worked a great at bat, opposite field like Piazza, right center. Boom, off a good closer and a great team tying the game. Then they win it with the cannon triple. Oh, baby, the Mets are back, Jer.
So a couple things. So first thing, I was going to ask you, are you believing yet?
Yes.
I guess I got that answer very quickly. A couple of things here. So number one, the pitch prior, it looked like he struck out.
Yeah.
And that the ball deflected off. My first thought is run. And then you realize that he tipped the ball so he gets another life. Then he hits the home run and he clobbers it the opposite way. I mean, you talk about going with the pitch. Wonderful at bat, all good. But then is when the fortune comes into play.
Yep.
2 times. One, you get Beatty just rolls over a soft ground ball, and off the bat, you're like, all right, well, they tied the game. Then we'll go to the bottom of the ninth. And then you see, based on where the positioning was, it just kind of carries into right field. You get a base hit. And then it wasn't too many pitches that Canna just bombs that ball to dead center field. You knew you were getting the go-ahead run in. He gets the third, gets the triple, all good 2-1. But then in the ninth inning, in the bottom half of the inning, Robertson comes out, and you get an Ajita-free ninth inning. Now, the first one was a deep shot to left, and at first, off the bat, I thought, you're thinking he might have tied the game, and then you see he's in the corner, all good, and 1 out. But then more fortune. With the ground ball that likely is a base hit, instead of hits off of Robertson, goes right to first base. Alonso's there, step on the bag just before the runner gets there, and you're thinking, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, things are turning for the Mets, who now remain 6.5 out with the wild card because teams ahead of them won. But you look at them now, 6 out in the loss column and starting to play good. And Senga was. Now, I didn't see this game live either.
He was on extra rest, and he said, which I love, he knew that it was his last start before the All-Star break. Go in there and go deep into the game, which he did. Innings? That's what I'm saying. He's proud of that, and you know what? We are too. 12 strikeouts, 8 innings. Yes, please. And you're right, Jared. The luck. Look, baseball, we talk about sports in general. A lot of it is luck at times. And the Mets haven't been very good, but they've had bad fortune as well. And blowing these games with the bullpen, you think, Robertson a week ago on Friday night. How could they can't blow that game. They needed Robertson to get the job done. He didn't, and you're just thinking, you know what? It's not their year. Go back to the World Baseball Classic with Edwin Diaz. You know what? You lose him to injury. You know what? Sometimes not their year. But a win like that and things went the way that they did last night, that shows you they're not dead yet. And I don't care what the number of games back is necessarily in the wild card standings in the National League. Look at the distance now between them and 1, 2, 3, really even 4 teams in front of them. But at least the next 3 teams, the Mets will leapfrog those 3 teams going into the All-Star break, and that will change everything because now you're only looking at about 3 teams in front of you, and it may be, 5, 6, whatever games out it may be. Right now, they're still buried, but they're right there with 3 teams in front of them who they can leapfrog before the All-Star break.
And you know what? They're not buried. They're not buried from the standpoint of, as you talked about the other day, the Yankees being 8 games out, 9 games out, and you still feel like they've got a fighter's chance to come back. 6.5 games out on, again, I'll say what I said yesterday or 2 days ago. 6.5 games out in mid-August, you're not out of it. So to sit here on July 6th and say anything differently would be silly. And the fact that they're starting to play better baseball gives you hope that you do have a summer of good games and important games and relevant games in front of you. And all of a sudden,
goodness, we need it.
And all these people that have continued to go to Citi Field because they pre-bought the tickets, some people don't want to go, they're not playing well. Well, all of a sudden you get a little bit of an uptick here and you start to see the team that resembled the team from last year. Now you start to look at your calendar. I bought tickets for July 19th. I can't wait to go.
Right.
Can't wait to go. July 26th. Where I'm just throwing dates out there. Can't wait to be at Citi Field. That's the excitement.
You want to go to a game together? I'm in. I'm back. I was out. I didn't even want to watch the Mets a week ago.
No, I don't like going to games with people that are out.
Why? Well, no. Now I'm back.
No, I'm back in. I don't want you back.
I told you they were going on a run. Everybody else said they were dead. I said they have a run in them. Now, to what extent? Who knows? But seriously, winning two. Think about this. 2 series, that's it.
I hear you.
They played lousy for a whole half of a season, 3 months of lousy baseball. They've had 2 good series.
1 month of horrendous baseball. To be fair.
That's true. April, they were okay. Well, they weren't very good in April.
But it wasn't lousy. June was horrific.
Nah, they got swept right out of the gate by Milwaukee.
3 games out.
The second game of the second series of the season.
I'm well aware, but when you look at where they were on June 1st,
I know, but
they were fine. They were okay.
But they still weren't playing the way that they did last year.
Agreed. That's not lousy baseball. Though.
You're right. It was god-awful baseball for a month.
Yes.
And then average baseball for the first couple of months. So they buried themselves in June. But now 2 series wins, and it changes everything.
And against good teams. Oh, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, this is an impressive one. Now, look, finish the job here and then take 2 or 3 from San Diego. Or, you could lose 1 in Arizona and then go sweep San Diego. But I think they need to get 3 of these next final 4 you're going into the break.
I will stand firm on what I've said. Make sure you win the next series. Now, you want to see them sweep today. You want to go out tonight at 9:40 and finish this Diamondbacks team off, sweep it. If not, you've still done your job, especially with the way they won last night. But you got to win the series in San Diego. I know you are requiring the sweep. I'm not. Get 2 out of 3 and continue to play winning baseball. And I think they go into the All-Star break as a team that feels like they're finding themselves and that they are more of what they were in 2022 as opposed to what they've been for the majority of this season. They do that, and then you come out of the All-Star break a little refreshed. I mean, you ain't got many guys playing in it. So these guys will get a little bit of a break. They should come out flying on the. And I know the schedule's not easy, but to your point, I think on Monday or Tuesday, they've actually played better against better teams.
Yeah.
For whatever I don't understand that, but that has been the case.
Well, except Atlanta. But yes, they have played
Atlanta
better.
Doesn't count.
Yeah, I know, unfortunately. And it really doesn't matter at this point. They got enough teams in front of them. Don't worry about the Braves. But look, we know they've had the talent. And I love the idea of going into the break with good momentum with this particular group because they have the pieces in place. They could reset, take a deep breath, set the rotation up the way that they want, adjust the bullpen, figure out which moves they want to make, who they could bring in, where they're looking at the trade deadline, figure everything out. But they have the talent, and if they can go on a little bit of a run going into the All-Star break and climb that ladder and make it look less daunting where you only have 4 or 5 teams in front of you as opposed to basically the rest of the National League, everything's going to be in play. I'm sure Buck will give him that speech. Hey, everything's still out in front of us here. Forget about the division. We want to go win this, get a postseason spot and get in, and then we could go achieve our goals. Now, again, I don't think this team could go out there and win the World Series, but that the expectations and goals change within the year. For this team to get back to being relevant and making a run, that would be an achievement, at least in the moment.
Well, everything changes, too, with the trade deadline. I mean, you don't know what this team looks like on August 3rd as it does here on July 6th. I mean, it could look very different.
Right.
It could look slightly different, or it could be the same. I don't know. But there are opportunities to change the look of the club. That having been said, isn't it funny how when a team is going badly, and they certainly were going badly in June, and you've got the manager out there saying the same thing every day. And to your point, you've got to keep telling the guys, hey, it's a long season. You got a lot of games left in front of you. You got winning streaks in front of you. You're not going to win every game. We got to stay the course. Blah. And we sit there and it's blah, 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 blah. It goes to the point that hearing them talk before and after every single game is just it's too much.
Right.
Because I don't know what you are supposed to say when a team is in the midst of a bad streak, whether it is 9 out of 10, it's 5 in a row, whether it's 8 out of 11, whatever. And things clearly are a little off. And it's 162 games. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Like, what else are they supposed to say? And you're right. Like you just point out that Buck's got to make sure these guys know that it is a long season. And yet we sit there and mock them when we hear them say the same things after losses. But there's nothing else to say.
But yeah, we're entertainers. Like, I mean, they can't overreact day in, day out to every game. They're the ones who are participating in it.
Exactly.
We can. We're fans. We're having fun with it. Like it's sports. It's not like,
are you having fun with it though? Or are you getting annoyed by it?
No, of course you get annoyed by it, but the reality is we've learned by now. We get down on the Yankees who are over 500. Oh, this team, and you get frustrated. That's what fans do. We overreact or we react to what's going on in the moment. You can't just sit back and say, oh, yeah, you know what? There's 162 of these. It doesn't matter if they lose this one. Well, then why do we care? We care about their job is to say there's 162 of these, not ours. We have to react. We're fans. We're in it. We want to live and die with every pitch of every game.
I agree with you, except for the fact that we've seen it 9 million times. Where seasons aren't over in May.
Right.
They're not. I mean,
sometimes they are.
Sometimes they can be, and a lot of times they're not.
Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not.
It is a very long season, and it goes to, again, what you said yesterday. When you look at the team, there are certain teams, you pointed out the Pirates, fool's gold. The Pirates got out to a really good start. No one's buying it. Why? Because they're not that good. They haven't done anything in forever. Why would you buy them? The Mets struggling early, and by the way, they haven't come all the way back, and they're a long ways away from where they need to be. I get it. But track record from just 8 months ago, that you do believe in some of these guys, that they will figure it out at some point, and you sit there and you go ballistic on them, and yet at the same time you feel like there's still a chance.
Right, but we should go ballistic on them because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
That's not the point I'm arguing. I'm not even arguing a point. Right. I'm just saying it's funny how we sit there and destroy teams, and specifically I'm talking about managers for saying the same thing over and over.
Well, I don't get into that. It kind of is
what it is.
Yeah, I personally don't get into, there are certain things that, you know, the managers will say, or whatever players will say at times, that you can't take seriously. So I don't. You know, what is Buck Showalter supposed to say? He ripped the team to shreds.
Right.
Like
do that's that privately.
I don't put any stock. I don't necessarily. It's not that I don't care what they say, but I understand why sometimes they say what they say. Some of it to me is a little nuts. Like Buck the other day said, "Oh, anybody who doubts this team is going to be making a mistake," and I'm like, "Yeah, okay, here we go. Maybe you know what? Prove us wrong. Shut us up." Yeah. That is in part to them, but. We're not saying it out of nowhere. They're giving us good reason to criticize the team and rip the team. Now, what he's got to say is what he's got to say. That's fine. Now go prove everybody who's doubted you wrong. Right now, the Mets are still 6 games under 500, but I feel like the worm is turned and they are going to go on a run. And you're right. It's the perfect formula here, or the perfect situation where you have a team with high expectations. They are far underperforming those high expectations, but they still clearly have talent to be a good team. So even though they're buried, and most teams, if it were the Pirates, you wouldn't even, like, you're not talking about the Cardinals making a run, are you?
No.
Okay, you're not talking about any other teams making a run.
Even though they've got players that could.
Well, whatever, right. You look at the Cardinals, you say they're buried, or the Nationals are buried. Well, a lot of it has to do, especially the Nationals, or even the Pirates. Like, you look at the Pirates, same record as the Mets. Nobody's saying, oh, the Pirates are going to get back into things. No, they're sinking like a rock. So that's also in part due to how they were built, what the expectations are. So the Mets have the potential to be a good team, have played bad baseball here for the first 3 months of the season, in particular last month. They still have the potential to get out of it. And now they're starting to show signs. That's why you believe. This is not fake because it's supposed to be. This is what they're supposed to be doing, winning these series against good teams.
And then just to the point about Senga as well, 8 innings, 12 strikeouts, but most importantly on the road, which is for whatever reason. And whether it's I don't know if it's the rest, the travel, I don't know what it's been. He's been a far better pitcher at Citi Field than he has been on the road. And last night he looked as comfortable as any start that I've seen all season long. I don't know what you attribute that to, but last night he was locked in to the point. I knew he was done, but and again, I'm rewatching it this morning, and I knew he had come out of the game for Robertson. But as I'm watching it in the 8th inning, I'm thinking, I said, it's interesting to think that he didn't finish. Now, it turned out to be the right move. And Robertson goes out. He was at 107 pitches, and we know that that's the magic number and all that. But man, oh man, that's one of those cases. We always talk about the winning pitcher. Like we talked about Scherzer getting the win the other night. And I'm like, he gave up the 4 runs, gave up runs twice. Did he really deserve to get a win for those 6 innings?
And Senga deserved to win last
100%.
Night.
This was a case where this guy deserved a win every step of the way, winds up getting it with the 2 runs in the top of the 9th. But I'll tell you, if he is that the rest of the way, or some semblance of that, and then you got Quintana coming at some point soon.
Well, that's another thing. He should be back before the break. Look, right after the break. This is why the Mets wanted, and why I was all for it, Senga instead of Chris Bassett. Bassett will go out there every 5th day, be reliable, durable, solid for you. Senga's got the potential to be an ace on any given night that he takes them out. And that was an ace-like performance. 8 innings, 12 strikeouts like that, 1 run. That's an ace-like performance. Now, I'm not knocking Bassett, but you see the higher upside there where Senga could go out there and dominate, I would think, even the best of lineups, too. Whether it's Atlanta or whoever it may be down the road, Senga's got that potential. And he's trying to figure it out here in the big leagues, his first half season or whatever in the big leagues here so far. And overall, I think it's been pretty good. Maybe he'll get better as we move forward, but you look at what that rotation could be if it's all going well. That's why you have hope for this team.
Yeah, I mean, he pitched like a 1 last night.
Right.
He didn't pitch like a 3. He pitched like a 1. And then you've got, Verlander and Scherzer, if they are on the uptick, and it does feel that way. Doesn't mean they are, but it does. See, it does.
I'm not there yet.
Here's the thing with Scherzer, even from the other night, and I'll be the first one to sit there and tell you that I don't think he deserved to be credited with the win because of the way he gave up the runs. Even he said it, the solo home runs don't beat you. When you look at
3 of them might.
I know. Yeah. No, I know. But when you look at the 6 innings he threw, some of those innings were dominant. Like you saw at least glimpses of what he still can do, aside from the home runs, which I know is a tough thing to say, but it is true. It wasn't like he had these monster chaotic innings. He had the one, he got himself out of it. I still feel like there's something there I really do. I feel like there's something there for Scherzer, and I do feel like he's getting better as the season is going on, at least right now. Could be way off. Maybe he'll bomb the next time he comes out. But if that's the case, and if Verlander is getting better and better as we go here, as he gets healthier and healthier, man, that 1, 2, 3, you add Quintana into the mix.
Now you have something. Now you start to have the making. Look, that's how you're supposed to win series with those guys. Even if one of them has an off day, they still should be able to take 2 out of 3. They got a lot of ground to make up. It's not going to be easy mathematically, but this is what they had to do. They took it down basically to the wire, Jared. There was no more wiggle room. They had to start winning series now, and they have now done that. And tonight's a bonus game for them. Go out there and sweep. And really, this series with the Padres coming up, even more important because that's one of the teams directly in front of them and going to be their competition.
And very much like them.
Yeah, exactly right. People are going to expect the Padres to turn around too because they had the high expectations. That is going to be a huge series.
I would not be surprised if we're sitting here on Sunday, Mets-Padres 1-1 rubber game into the All-Star break.
And that'd be a fun game.
Yeah, look, it would be.
Bottom line, we talked about being, the phases of the Mets fan, the stages, and, you start off hopeful or excited, then you start to get frustrated, then you just become downright angry, and then there's apathy. They were getting very close to the apathy. Well, guess what? Anything but now. This is a must-watch series. Right now, they're must-watch because they're fighting their way back into things, and it could change any given night. But that Padres series coming up this weekend going to be huge going into the break with Scherzer pitching Sunday, right?
Sunday should be, because he pitched Tuesday.
Right. And they wanted to have him get 2 starts, which is why they moved him up. Senga back. Look at Senga on extra rest. Things are clicking for the Metsies, Jer.
Next 4 days will tell you a lot.
Woo!
Will tell you a lot. But these 4 games have gotten them back to relevancy. And that's a good thing.
We care now. I may stay up tonight and watch this one.
I hope you do.
Well, I could.
9:40 start again.
These, Jared, I don't know how you do these hours every day. Hard to get up.
It's not easy.
4 a.m. I was beat yesterday.
4 a.m.
Yeah, it was
2:30.
Before well, for me, I get up at 4. For me, I was I was taking a nap yesterday before SNY, in between. I passed out in the car.
No nap for me.
Mouth open. I couldn't. I was like, where am I?
That's when you wake up and you're hoping that there's not a cop knocking on your window about to arrest you.
Yeah, or somebody who's living in the street asking for money, scaring the daylights out of you.
Not only no nap. We didn't get 18 holes in because Matthew had to work last night, but we got 16 holes in 95 degrees.
Pretty good. What's wrong with you?
Nothing's wrong with me.
Enjoyed it?
Had a blast.
All right,
had an absolute blast. All right, we're going to take a break. 20 after 6. I promise we'll get to the Yankees in a few minutes as well.
It's a Mets day,
No, we got to do the Yankees too.
I tell you,
this guy. I mean, are you kidding me?
Running backwards
Let's
around the
relax
bases.
a little bit.
No way. That was
just
a moment.
A little bit. Watch, they lose tonight. They're done. They suck. I can't believe I bought in.
Oh, that'll be tomorrow's show, Jerry. Yeah. This team's terrible. How can I get sucked into this nonsense?
And if you think he's kidding, check in tomorrow.